From the Giant Bomb Studios in San Francisco, California, it's the Apple Bite Extra Crunchy podcast with the #1 top Apple expert that you need to learn from, Mr. Brian Tong.
Wow, these intros are getting more extravagant by the day, by the show.
You're the top guy.
Thanks, man. I'm the #1 stunner. Everybody, welcome to the Apple Bite Extra Crunchy. We are here for episode 54. We are going to recap everything. The iPhone pre-orders just went down today, technically, 12:01 a.m. Pacific time. We're also going to talk about our reactions to the Keynote. I don't know if you saw this show. There's this video podcast that kind of started this whole thing that comes out weekly called the Apple Bite, where I think I was fair, but I also went in on Apple. It was fair, though, don't you think?
Yeah, I saw an email, someone saying, can you please fire Brian Tong? Because all he does is talk smack, but, he's keeping it real, everybody.
Yeah, it's just not the case. So we also want you all to be a part of the show. What I love is you're getting into the habit of calling our show when something pops in your mind, you have a thought or idea, put this in your phone, 1-800-616-2638. That is the way that you all can feel to be, really be a part of this show. Tell us how you feel, your name, where you're from, your question, your comment, and we'll put in the show. We got tons of voicemails this week, and we're really trying to show a lot more love to you. So a little less of us, a little more of you, and everyone wins. So let's just jump right into it. iPhone 7 pre-orders. Beecham, you were sleeping like you were in deep sleep while I was awake, right?
Yes.
Yeah, see, you didn't have to deal with this.
I did not order one.
12:01 a.m. Pacific time. For those of you who had to go through this ordeal, basically Apple opens up their store, but it's never smooth sailing. And so everyone gets ramped up around 12 midnight. You find out who's awake, who's online. The actual Apple store didn't roughly open until around 12:06, 12:07, but then not even that. It seems to be like the iOS and iPad app was the actual store that got the first access to the pre-orders. Then what makes it really tricky is the phone that everyone, at least, how about this? Not that everyone wants, but the most highly sought after phone, which is the hardest to get and typically runs out fast, was the Jet Black 7 Plus. So when people jumped on to get the Jet Black 7 Plus, I was looking at the wait times because you can kind of play around with it. I myself personally just got a Jet Black 7. If I did not work for CNET, I will tell you right now, I would not have upgraded. And I use my own money to upgrade because I've got to give you my piece of mind from my purchases.
Are you on the plan or?
No, I'm not.
Did you buy straight up?
So yes, everyone's like, oh, baller. No, I have to put down a big fat chunk of change.
Oh man,
because I'm still using AT&T's legacy unlimited data plan from literally like at least 8-9 years ago.
Same here.
I'm not going to get on their quote unquote new unlimited plan. If you lock into the iPhone upgrade program, which allows you to get a phone every year, includes Apple Care, you can upgrade your phone every year, but it'll change your data plan. Really? They put you on their updated data plan. So because I'm stubborn and I'm like, I'm old school, I stick and just put down the money knowing that I can sell my phone and the difference will end up being around $200. So that's how I approach it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I do it too. I sell my old phone for like $200 or $300, so the new one costs me, $200 or $300.
It's this really amazing tool called eBay.
eBay,
have you heard of
it?
I've heard of it. I just started using it. No, I use it all the time. So I want to give you the breakdown of how fast the Jet Black 7 Plus really went. In about the first minute or two, arrival times, right? The goal is to get it on September the 16th, increase to 1 to 2 weeks. This is about in the first few minutes. Then if you talk about the first 10 minutes when it was available, 2 to 3 weeks. And then after that, it jumped up to 4 to 6 weeks. And then about 25 minutes into the pre-order process, you're talking about November.
Wow.
Movember.
Movember.
Do you do Movember? I think it's dirty.
No, I don't.
I get the awareness, but it just, a lot of my friends that try to grow mustaches that can't, it's just embarrassing. I just say, don't do it.
It's uncomfortable.
Don't do it. It doesn't look right. The other issue is that a lot of people try to do direct pickup in stores. And I was one of these people, I first chose that option and none of my local stores were available for direct pickup and I got in right away. And that actually delays you because then you have to back up and change your options for how you want to pick it up. And that caused some people also to be moved lower into the queue.
That's a bummer.
So that was crappy. But no fear for all those of you who are like, I want to just walk up into the store. Apple has obviously cut off their ability to do that per se, at least in store, but they say that they will reopen in-store pickups reservations on September the 17th at 8 a.m. And this will be specific to the US and the UK. So again, you may not get it on launch day, but if you don't want to wait and you want to kind of play with your chances, play with fate, you can pick it up on September the 17th, or you can at least set it up for an order. So it was popular. The jet black was popular because it's like the color that they were like really pushing hard. But I think that the other thing that was really my headline, my favorite thing about this whole iPhone keynote thing is this story that just came out. According to Pornhub, a specific website that's used for specific reasons. I don't know. I think it just shows off a lot of gadgets that are like really pretty. Silicone, heavy on the silicone parts. But Pornhub reports that it saw a 9.5% drop in global traffic for iOS users during Apple's live keynote.
Oh, wow.
So when everyone was getting ramped up for this, porn viewing stopped. Like the iPhone was clearly sexy enough to draw all you porn lovers away.
That's amazing.
Now, they also saw a similar drop around 8.8% in Safari users. So iOS users, 9.5%. Safari users, a drop of 8.8% in use.
That's weird because you have to watch the keynote in Safari. So
you do.
That's weird.
So that means they turned their priority away from Pornhub and went to Safari, went to the Apple keynote. The site also reports that 35% of Pornhub's daily visitors are on iPhones and iPads.
Wow.
They're going mobile. Okay. Now here's the other fun thing. After the keynote finished, after it was completed.
The keynote, not the Pornhub users.
After completion, traffic increased back up 6%.
Oh wow.
It's the power of Apple, y'all.
That's funny.
I would not put that past anybody. The power of Apple defeats the power of porn. So there you go. The other thing to talk about, just kind of some other details, is Apple Care has changed a little bit of how they do business with the iPhone plan. Now, normally in the past, when you had an incident or you needed to get a repair, it would cost you $99 per repair. This applied to screen repairs as well. But Apple's doing some good things. They are changing this. So Apple Care does cover you for 2 years and 2 incidents, okay? But instead of charging you $99 for a screen repair, they've updated it so that will only be a $29 charge.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Huge difference.
I had to pay like $200 to replace my iPad.
Huge difference
screen
in service repair. So at least for the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, the Apple Care Plus plan is $129 if you want to get that. I honestly get it on all my devices, and the reason why, and I've told people this before, is typically something happens to my phone, I get it swapped out, and then I sell my phone, so it's just as good as new.
Nice.
And then you typically get the most money, and the warranty is still on there. So it's kind of a strategy that I like to do. Apple Care, swap out anything that's messed up, and then put it right back on the market, and then get the new phone.
There you go.
Well, this is the BTZ way. Also, if you're curious about the iPhone and its performance before the keynote, benchmarks leaked, which were rumored to be the iPhone 7 of how it outperformed the 6S and the 6S Plus, which is expected, but also the iPad Pro 12.9 inch. They ran new benchmarks. This one suggests pretty much that the iPhone 7 Plus, although Apple never officially says it, comes with 3 gigs of RAM. So all you people that are like always about, give me more RAM, do more RAM, and sometimes people get obsessed about that, not just the general day-to-day experiential use. The iPhone 7 7 Plus looks like it has 3 gigs of RAM. So you can no longer cry or get mad about the fact that it only has 2 gigs of RAM, because sometimes people obsess about this.
Yeah.
So, Steven,
I need all my RAM.
We've talked about like the Lightning port, but what is probably the biggest issue that you see just with listening to music? And we talked about this.
Well, it's clearly, charging your phone while you're listening to music.
Right.
You know? That's the biggest thing everyone's asking about.
Do you do that?
Yes. When I'm sitting at work, I'll listen to music or listen to whatever, radio or whatever on my phone, have it plugged in, charging. now I can't do that.
At the
but
moment,
I don't have the phone.
right?
But
You don't have. Yeah. Well, actually, I guess you'll be okay because you aren't getting the phone.
I'm not gonna get the phone.
So
no way.
Technically, you'll be okay. But there's so many other people that charge and listen at the same time. So Apple is kind of a funny response. Someone sent an email directly to Phil Schiller, and Mac Rumors will sometimes surface these emails and put it as a story. And a writer wrote into Phil and said, "Oh, they like to use their they want to listen on their iPhone 7 like they do, charging at the same time while having an actual headphone plugged in." So Phil Schiller suggested that they just buy an Apple dock, the Lightning dock, because you can drop it in there. But come on, it's not like we all.
No,
that's something that wasn't necessary before.
Yeah, totally. I mean, did he check with marketing before he answered that question?
Probably not. He checked with him. He is the head of himself. He is the VP of marketing. He is the VP of marketing.
The VP of marketing. Okay, so he checked with himself.
Yeah, he checked in with himself, and he said it could go through. So
that
funny. Lightning dock cost $49, but just a day ago, Belkin, accessory extraordinaire, released what they have, and it's going to be a Lightning. I guess you could call it not a splitter, but it's a Lightning adapter, a dongle with 2 ports on it that will allow you to charge through Lightning and then listen through the Lightning headphone dongle to your music. But again, it's going to be this other extra
pain in the ass.
Another extra thing that you don't want. It's going to be $40, but at least it's a solution. And I said on the show, the video podcast, someone's going to make a lot of money with this.
Yeah, but what's up with wireless charging? There's no mention at all whatsoever.
Well, that's for the next phone. That's why you're not buying this phone.
That's going to solve the problem of the iPhone 7 charging problem.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
See, they created a problem, but then they're going to solve it in the next phone and then tell everyone that they solved it.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on in the iPhone 7 world. But again, the charging cable, Belkin, you're gonna do good.
I'm curious how many people are gonna skip the 7. I'm sure there's gonna be a huge number, but it seems like the sales are pretty strong already. So
well, what I find is ultimately I put out a poll on Twitter and I asked if you're gonna upgrade or not upgrade, and it was pretty close. It was like a 55 to 45, and 55% were gonna upgrade. And when I say I put out a poll, I think around 1,200 people responded, and really all it comes down to is just your upgrade cycle. Right?
True,
you can talk about how I don't want this phone. It's not that good. And those people typically aren't even eligible to upgrade. They don't need to. But if you're someone who has a phone and you love tech and you've had a phone for 2 years in general, you're probably going to upgrade. But if you're smart this year, I'm going to tell you don't upgrade.
Just hang.
My fiance, she has a 6. She asked me, should I upgrade? Of course, I'm the one that provides her phone for her. I'm just kidding. I do. Look, she pays for tons of dinners and I feel bad, but we make up for it. It's even, right? You know how I don't know, as a guy, sometimes I feel weird when I'm oh, I don't want her to pay for me, but then it is nice when someone pays for you. Do you ever,
I love it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm always paying for everything, but it is nice when the wife or, your significant other is
whatever
I'll grab
it is.
this one. You're oh,
yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
It's treat yourself, treat me. I treat you, treat me. I think that's how it should be. So she is not upgrading, and I told her it's worth waiting out. And all of a sudden, so it's going to be a 3-year wait, and she's going to get this dope 10th anniversary iPhone.
Hell yeah!
I think it's going to
be what was it? Future?
Well, we call it the iPhone Future, the iPhone Future. All right, let's take a break. Talk about our sponsors who always hook us up and keep this show running. Handpicked by Apple to be one of the original HomeKit launch partners, iDevices currently has the largest line of HomeKit products on the market. iDevices believes in top-of-the-line quality and craftsmanship, sleek design, smart home customization, designed and engineered in the U.S. of A., Avon, Connecticut. The iDevices stands behind their quality and craftsmanship of their products. 100 U.S.-based customer service, 100% from real people. They have a complete line of connected home products. We've got a smart plug, a Wi-Fi thermostat, a rain-tight outdoor smart plug, a new socket adapter that makes any dumb bulb, right, your old school light bulb, a smart bulb, and each product can be customizable for a nightlight that can add this ambiance and flair to your home.
Nice. There's no hub, no fees. It just works with simple setup and seamless integration. The Premier HomeKit Aggregator app. With the Premier HomeKit Aggregator app, you can manage and control all iDevice products and any other HomeKit-enabled device. More than just gadgets, smart home products designed for a complete smart home experience. And it uses Siri and Alexa voice commands, which Brian says
works like
perfectly.
a charm.
Yes.
Love it.
So surf on over to iDevicesinc.com. That's iDevicesinc.com and use promo code AppleBite for 15% off your home's evolution. That's 15% is a big number.
That's right. You know what's even bigger? Saying this in unison. Ready?
Yes.
iDevices, evolving your home.
Oh, beautiful. That was like chorusy.
You know what? I can tell though, my brain is a little tired because I was having trouble reading that.
Yeah, me too.
My brain is.
Well, the way they wrote it, it's a little weird how they wrote it. To be honest, I gotta rewrite it.
I think it was written perfectly, Steven.
I don't send them this part of the. I send them the mid-roll, but I don't send them this part.
That was perfectly written, expertly written by iDevices.
Amazing writing.
All right, just some quick things about the keynote, maybe some under the radar stuff that they didn't tell you quietly, and this is a good thing for all of us. They've upgraded the iPad storage across the board, and also kind of my brain is, I can't even see what I'm doing. They've updated the storage and they've lowered, they've kept it really at the same price, or they've even in fact lowered some prices. They do have 256 gig options available for the iPads across many of the tiers, which is a huge thing. This is really specifically to the iPad Pro big boys, but 256 gigs now? Are you kidding me?
That's pretty good, but I'm still, when are we going to get a terabyte in there? Something like that. That's probably not for a long time, but
when I can do real video editing on it, like real video editing and real Photoshop, comfortably and expertly, I like that word today, then I'll put down the change and say, yeah, give me a 1 terabyte.
Terabyte me.
Right now, terabyte me, is that the new show?
Yeah, my iPad fills up quick with videos,
So yeah, check that out. iPad lovers, we are not expecting any upgrades this year from a standpoint of an all-new processor design. It looks like that is going to get pushed until next year. So just sit tight. It might be early next year. It might be mid next year, but iPad momentum really isn't there, and we've seen it continue to dip. It's the type of device that you use for years. It really is.
Totally.
And the current iPad line, the 12.9 and the 9.7, are more than ample right now. There's nothing that's being developed that is requiring us to get a new iPad Pro.
True
that. Mako Sierra, our favorite friend, it'll be available September the 20th. But also, if you're part of Apple's developer community, the Gold Master public beta is also, I believe they just made it available. So that is going to be, yes, it is been available to the masses. So this is not the Gold Master is literally the official kind of what goes out, but people that are part of the beta program or earlier kind of get a little sneak peek and get a little access earlier to it.
Cool.
So that's nice. I mean, I'm
excited.
I'm running the Gold Masters on my iPhone 6S and the Gold Master of Watchos 3 on my Apple Watch right now. And we'll talk about those in a second. But I did want to kind of transition overall. You've heard us talk so much about the iPhone. I mean, we got to regurgitate it, but I haven't really had as much of a back and forth with you, Beach.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious off the bat, your overall thoughts on the iPhone 7.
It was just completely lackluster to me. I don't care about a camera. I don't, I like to have a nice camera, but that's not a selling point for me. The headphone thing is a big no-no for me. The ear pods were totally, at first when I first saw them, I'm like, oh, they look silly, right? And then thinking about it later, they don't look too bad because they really are just the current ear pods without the cable, right?
Yeah.
It just looks funny to us because we're so used to seeing a cable connected.
Yes.
But when I heard that it was like $160, I was like, what? Never going to buy that.
You're not going to do that anytime soon.
I just thought it was ridiculous. But the coolest thing
what
from
did
the keynote.
What did you like? What did you like at least?
Mario. That was a big thing for me.
See,
I love Mario.
I thought Mario was a great... I didn't even include it in the show because I'm more mad at Nintendo that this is something they should have done 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes, a long
quite
time
honestly.
ago.
And so fine, Nintendo, you're part of the game now. I think that people will love the fact that they're, but it's not going to, like, it doesn't change anything in the landscape of gaming. It doesn't change anything in the landscape of devices. It's just nice and dope that Mario is on the iPhone finally.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
how I see it.
Yes.
Right.
And I will play Mario on the bus ride to work.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked. And my kids will love it. So, that was the most exciting thing for me.
My iPhone 7 thoughts in a bundle, because everyone can hear or have seen a billion things I've said about it. I like it. I don't love it, and I wouldn't upgrade for it. But I think it's perfect for someone who is the ultimate camera fiend and really wants, at least if you're an iPhone person, to have the best camera available to them. The other thing, though, that really stopped me from getting super excited about the dual lens camera, and again, I think it is great, but right now it's going to be a software update for this portrait mode feature. Now, here's the thing. Portrait mode is only going to work on faces. Like, that was my hunch. And then as you've read more, right, when you hear these announcements, you don't know how detailed it gets. But portrait mode is only going to be specific to doing those cool pictures with that bokeh, like shallow depth of field, blurred out background with faces. So you can't do it with food. You can't do it with inanimate objects. You can't do it with flowers. So it's really going to be limited just to portraits. And I'm sorry, unless you're super into yourself, are you really going to just take
or
tons
photography?
Of, yeah, even photographers in general. Are you going to use that phone just for portraits? I think it's nice. It's just the beginning. It's going to get better, okay? So I'm not complaining about this. I'm just saying it didn't make it compelling for me to be like, wow, I'm even now flirting with the idea of getting an iPhone 7 Plus and ditching the smaller version because that camera's so great. And it just wasn't, it's great, but it's not, boom, I got to have this great.
Yeah, the cool thing, though, was the low light camera. Like being able to take pictures in the dark is kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of our life we spend in the dark at like parties and nightclubs or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that is a good thing, because every picture you take with an iPhone in the dark looks like crap.
Yeah, they aren't the best.
They're noisy.
They aren't the best.
So I like that they're trying to improve that. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there's really nothing else. The portrait mode. When I saw that, actually, I was like, great. Now there's more things I have to like swipe through on my camera to get to the right camera I want to use. Because sometimes, you're trying to get a picture in a hurry, and then you're on square, and you're like, oh crap, and then you like swipe and you get to slow mo or time lapse or something. You're like, ah. So it's like more crap to go through.
Yeah,
for me.
I thought it was a nice upgrade if you're in the market to upgrade, but that's kind of sounds like par for the course. The dual lens camera was, and here's the thing, even though we're talking about it, it might indicate that this wasn't a powerhouse keynote, but the dual lens camera was the best thing about the keynote to me from a feature standpoint. Now, some people might argue about the AirPods. We can talk about that. What do you think about the Apple Watch? A nice bump up.
The Apple Watches look cool. Yeah.
Did it make any compelling argument for you to buy one?
No, because of the price. Yeah. But if the price was right, I would probably buy one.
I think the interesting thing about the Apple Watch for me is, and Watch OS Trace completely makes it a watch worth having. But the way that I use the watch, the new features that they added were really specific to two groups: hikers/runners and swimmers.
Yes.
And so if you don't fall into those two groups specifically, there's plenty of runners that have an Apple Watch right now. The GPS on the Apple Watch is going to make it great. But for example, me, I don't go on hikes all the time.
No.
There's some people that do.
I'm not swimming laps all the time either.
It'll be, and I'm not I used to swim when I was younger, but I don't swim all the time, like as my primary form of exercise. So quite honestly, for me, the way that I use my Apple Watch, none of the features that they added changes how I feel about the Apple Watch.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
it's all about Watch OS Trace. Really.
I mean, maybe if there was some integration for golf or something, which there probably will be.
There's some apps that do it.
Yeah, totally. I use some apps on my phone actually, but maybe that would be a selling point for me. But yeah, I mean, like you're even saying, if you're gonna play basketball, you're gonna take off your watch.
You're not gonna wear that.
If you're gonna play some sort of physical sport, you're gonna take off your watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a tough one.
So
the Nike one looks cool though.
Yeah, the Nike. I mean, you like the Nike one that had kind of that branding and kind of the running aspect. The thing about the Nike Apple Watch that people need to be aware about is that you're really going to get a couple things with it. You're going to get the same exact functionality as the Apple Watch Series 2, but the benefit of having the Nike Watch is A, their sporty sport band, okay?
Yes.
And B, the Apple Watch Nike Plus edition will have specific kind of like watch faces for it that have that font and integration. But the actual Nike Plus Run app that is going to be updated for it, that's available on all phones.
Totally.
The difference is that the GPS is going to be integrated on that watch, which helps, but it's not, some people are like worried that, oh, this is like a super exclusive watch. Like the app is still going to be available for you. So
yeah, it's just a funky colored watch that they can sell in the Nike store, basically.
yeah,
right?
yeah. And that for Nike, lovers of the brand, it makes sense. It's like, I described it like, if you like the Iron Man's Samsung Galaxy phone and you're an Iron Man fan, you probably got that. If you're a super Nike hardcore enthusiast that runs, you're probably going to end up being that person that buys the Nike Plus Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So, nice update. I did pre-order, for the record, I did pre-order an iPhone 7 jet black just because it's jet black, but it's for me to play around with and review. I did order an Apple Watch Series 2, but also with WatchOS 3 on this current Apple Watch, the battery life is basically about the same. It actually seems even a little better. And so that's not even compelling for me to get an Apple Watch 2.
Just a slightly better battery.
Yeah, and the GPS. But I'm going to check it out and probably play with it for a couple of weeks and then just return it through Apple's normal return policy. But I just want to see how much different is it and really does it make a difference for me. And my hunch right now is that it won't too much. So we'll see how all of that plays out. And then finally, the AirPods, arguably the most buzzworthy talked about part of this whole keynote was the AirPods, and I love the tech inside of it.
Yeah.
The technology is something we have never seen before. Apple's custom W1 chip that really deals with the communication with how it talks and syncs to different. I love the fact that it can switch off to multiple products depending on what you're using, your watch or your phone or your laptop or your iPad. That's awesome. The battery life is pretty much on par with what we have out there, 5 hours. But I just cannot get past that design, man. I was screaming about it at the keynote, and then there's specific angles of those AirPods that just look atrocious.
Yeah,
like the straight on look looks like you have either your choice of either tampon, golf tee, toothbrush, electric toothbrush, Q-tip, cigarette. It looks goofy.
In 5 hours too, only 5 hours of battery time. Like people are pointing out, like if you're on a flight that's over 5 hours, you're screwed unless you have some sort of battery with you. Yeah, I don't know what the sound quality is going to be like. Battery life, there's a lot of things. And $160, $159, that's ridiculous.
Even with the charging case, like you said, okay, it's 5 hours of battery life, right? You have this charging case that gives you 24 hours more, but you still have to put them in it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, exactly. So you have to put them in there for a little while, right?
Yeah, you can't use them. And I will be the first to say that I know exactly how Apple's thinking. I think this is a great move from a standpoint of the future. Like, I'm gonna get a headphone with a W1 chip in it, but I'm gonna get the Beats. What is it? The Beats Power. It's the Power 3 wireless ones. It's their workout ones. I love the version 2, but I'm gonna get the third generation that's coming out sometime in October. I think it's the Power Beats 3 wireless. Sorry, that's what they're called. Because I love those, and they hook around the ear, and they hold, and they still feel like nothing's there because this little strap that's really like non-intrusive goes behind your head. But these earbuds have to fit your ears too. That's the thing. Yeah. Any earbud has to fit your ear, and certain ones have fit me better than others. The current earpods fit me the best, but I'm just curious to see how they do.
I really like the way the current earpods work and fit my ear.
Yeah.
And these look exactly like them, so I'm sure these will fit my ear, It's just a matter of the price. And then a lot of people were talking like in our office, like, what happens if you lose one? Like, are you going to go to Apple and they're going to sell you one? Probably not.
Where's the Find My AirPods function? That was not discussed. This is a real first world problem issue that we need to resolve. Where Find My AirPods?
It's possible to do, right?
The good thing is, I think you'll see like You might randomly come across a straggling AirPod like on the ground, like lonely, like in the corner on a sidewalk, all dirty. Like,
And will you put that in your ear? Ew.
hell
No
no.
way.
But again, I think the technology is amazing. It's only going to get better. Give Apple about 2 years when some of these chips can be more miniaturized and basically fit into the earbud.
Yes.
And I think it'll be a different story. But they are kind of getting people comfortable with the idea of it. We know that Samsung has their Icon X earbuds that have heartbeat tracking in them already.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Bragi has their own earbuds as well. So this is going to happen. It takes kind of gradual steps, but Apple's twist on the technology with the W1 chip is what makes this really special. And I'm more curious about how that W1 chip technology is going to be integrated in the future and with better design. And then I think I'll get really excited about it. And for people that are early adopters, you'll know who the early adopters on this one are.
Oh yeah,
you will
walking
know
down the street.
You will know. No doubt.
Yeah, but
about
if Apple needs to drop the price by at least $100, seriously.
Well, I think that here's the thing. Any Bluetooth headset right now that's wireless is already okay. I don't want to say any, but some of the quote unquote more popular brands are already like 100 plus easy for wireless Bluetooth headsets.
I think that's just because it's such a new thing that people aren't used to, and it's like it seems like such a luxury, you know. Oh, I'm gonna get some wireless headphones. I'm willing to spend the money, but it's just now that Apple's doing it, everyone's gonna do it, and there's gonna be so many of them to choose from. The price has to only come down.
You know what? You know what someone's gonna do, and it'll be silly. And I'm sure Apple discussed this, but they decided not just purely because of aesthetics. Someone's gonna make a cable that clips to both AirPods and goes behind your neck.
Yeah.
And people are going to probably buy that. And
to keep them together?
So that they won't
hold them together?
So you won't lose, they can't really pop out of your ear. Like that's one of those things, right? Like tech, here's my best comparison or argument about this. Google Glass was an amazing technology, but it looked so, people
terrible.
could not get past how they look. Apple AirPods do not look nearly as bad as Google Glass, but if you read comments, one of the main reasons why people don't want to get this is A, the price, and that's always subject to what you're willing to pay, but B, the second most common reason is because of how they look.
They look
and
silly.
you can never ignore that.
Yeah.
You can never ignore that. So this whole transition between tech and, I guess, aesthetics.
I can't wait to see who in the office gets them first. Probably you.
I'll pre-order them and I'll wear them I'll try them I don't even think I'll wear them regularly. I will try them out. But the other thing that I'm curious about is, so they talk about double tapping for Siri, but then a lot of headphones have a remote control or the ability to tap on them to change your music or your tracks.
I do it all. Use it all the time.
Answer calls. So is it going to be it can't all be on that one side. Will one side be like music control and then one side be like Siri? Yeah, there's going to be... So they didn't get into it enough because I know it's early, but it's going to be interesting to see how they actually put this all together.
Yeah.
So I just think they're just something I would never wear regularly. Just the way they look is just too silly for me. That's what it comes down to for me. But the tech on point. Okay. We kind of like went through all of that. But the one thing that I want to tell people is don't forget about the MacBooks. All right, everyone.
Oh yeah.
I had a lot of people say, "What happened to the MacBooks?" And we weren't expecting necessarily an actual, MacBook release. We are looking towards that potentially in October. That's what all indications point to. So for all of you that are missing out, look to October. Someone even wrote Tim Cook directly and said, "Are you pulling away from the Mac line?" And Apple, again, the Mac line may not be their most what's the word that I'm looking for because my brain is totally dead right now.
Most popular,
most lucrative category right now, but it still is it's one of those tried and true. You're going to bring this much to our bottom line from the MacBooks, and it's Mac line, and it is a part of their identity. So they're never going to abandon it. They're never going to ignore it. But we are expecting something in October. iMacs, MacBook Pros. We might see some other things, but again, iPads look towards next year, and Macs will be the main focus for before the end of this year.
Yeah, we all remember the iconic moment when Steve Jobs took one out of a manila envelope.
Oh,
remember that?
Yeah, that was the MacBook Air. I still have that MacBook Air.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
I still have that model. I didn't get the first gen. I got the second gen because they finally put some real power into it, much like their current MacBook, like ultra thin.
Mhm.
That thing's amazing, but it's very weak.
Yeah.
It's super weak.
Plus the lack of ports. That's Apple's big on like getting rid of all the ports now, and that drives everyone crazy.
Yeah, it's a little insane. So let's go check out our voicemails. We have tons from all of you, so we will get right into that.
All right.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Beach. This is Kenny from Texas. Kind of a marketing question. I was watching the keynote, and it just kind of struck me how they're complicated and complex, the keynotes are, and talking about the phones and the cameras and all the specs. And I remember reading some books and articles about their marketing before and how it was less on specs and more about the look and the feel and how, what a pleasure it was to use all of their products. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on whether or not you've seen that shift, whether is it a result of just the phones being more complicated now? Is that a difference between Tim Cook's Apple versus Steve Jobs' Apple? So we just love to get your thoughts on that. Love the show. Thanks.
I think that's a great point that he makes, and I think part of it comes down to having Steve Jobs give a keynote versus having anyone else give a keynote. And you can tell that Steve Jobs he was a great storyteller. He was emotionally invested in the product.
Yes.
And there's a difference when he would tell stories of how things came to be or how it affected him, where Tim Cook and Phil Schiller just say, "This is amazing. We love this." Yeah. But Steve Jobs would like kind of build stories around it. And also you could tell he was like anything. There's a sniff test, and you could tell he was intimately connected to them.
He would like create a situation where he would be like sitting in a chair and be like, "Oh, look at I'm holding my iPad. Look how comfortable it is to sit in this chair with my iPad."
Yeah.
Stuff like that, And yesterday I cut this super cut of every time Apple introduced an iPhone and they say, "This is the greatest iPhone that we've made as of now," or something like that. And it was funny to see the evolution of their script, because it felt like the last 4 iPhones, they were just copy pasting the script from the previous.
Just like getting
keynote.
Right to it, and it was like the overall general line.
This is the greatest iPhone that Apple has ever made. It's the most advanced iPhone. Let's bring out so and so to give the demo. Each one was the same exact, but in the beginning with Steve Jobs, it was more like organic, and he was like, "I got something for you guys. It's really hot." And people are like, "What is it?" They're so excited. Yeah. And it was just really interesting to see that progression of how they introduced all the iPhones.
I remember here's another point, when you guys were trying to edit this piece, you kept on saying, Steve Jobs doesn't really get right to the point. He's kind of talking about it a little more before he actually says it. In fact, in some cases, he doesn't really outright say, this is the greatest. He'll be like you said, "You're going to love what we have here." Yeah. And then he doesn't say that generic line, "This iPhone blank is the blankest blank you've blanked."
Yeah. Like he said for the iPhone 3GS, he said, "This product is this new iPhone 3GS is one of the best things I've ever had the privilege of working on." And it was like more
it's like
personal.
A person. It's like a person.
Yeah. Which is way more personal than like, "This is the greatest iPhone we've ever made." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was very cool. Go check out that video.
Yeah, so I agree with you from a standpoint of it's more of the personalities involved, because you can tell stories about these things. You can connect to certain things, but it's always about the sniff test. And that's one of those, call it the reality distortion field, whatever you want. Some people are just better salespeople than others. Some people are just better talkers than others. It just comes down to some of that instinctual, natural, this is who person A versus person B is.
Yeah, it's like now the mention of the color is just kind of a mention, whereas Steve Jobs was like, "We got these blue MacBooks, check this out, And it was like it was so different. Now they're like, "We have space gray," and it's just very like scripted.
It's dry. It's a lot drier. There's less heart and more just like that's the best way to put it. There's just less heart.
Yeah,
you feel less heart.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Excellent. Thanks for the call. That's a great point, though.
Abdul from Iowa checking in.
Hello, Applebite. My name is Abdul from Ames, Iowa, and one question. 32 gig or 128 gig. You get 4 times the more storage. I don't know if I should go ahead and go the 128 gig. Yeah, it's going to shoot in 4K. The pictures are going to be much bigger, and the videos are going to be big files. I'm just I'm trying to decide which one is best. 32, 128, but 32, I'm not sure. I don't know. Help me decide, please. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Here, let me help you out because one of my friends has the same exact issue. One of my friends actually has been surviving, and I use that word, loosely and goofingly. Surviving on a 16 gig iPhone 5 or 5S for quite some time, and literally he was at the point where he would get a text message, and it would say, you have run out of space. He'd delete like a text chain, and then get another text message, and it would pop up again. Like
really?
Every action he was doing, he had to delete something. Okay, imagine this horrible world for this young man. Okay,
sounds awful.
So, anyways, he's like, "All right, well, I'm just gonna get the 32." I'm like, you know what? You might reconsider this because, first of all, yeah, you could talk about 4K video and cameras and apps and all that, but 32 now, what these phones do, it's gonna fill up really
fills up
fast.
Definitely.
And especially if you're someone who bought the 7 Plus specifically for the camera, you have got to go 128. And again, it's $100 difference.
Oh, between the 32 and the 128?
Yeah. You go
really?
128.
It's only $100?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just go. Honestly, my recommendation long term is to go 128. Now, you want to go large? You want to get 256? You want to get crazy like that? Then do 256. But I would say 128 would be a smart choice just in the long run, especially think about all these apps that are using more resources, higher fidelity textures, and I'm not talking about Instagram or Twitter. I'm talking about other apps. These devices are multimedia machines. Go for 128. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, I agree. Because unless you're into like managing your phone, like every few months,
that sucks.
Connecting it to iTunes and taking everything off and backing it up, then yeah, definitely get a bigger phone. So you don't have to worry about that stuff. So, okay, next call.
Hi, this is Rodrigo from Brazil. I think it's sad when the keynote speak, the best thing in the keynote speak is Pokemon Go. It has nothing to do with any Apple products, just Pokemon Go, Pokemon Go.
So I don't know if that was his favorite thing. I guess to him, Pokemon Go was the best thing about the keynote because he was like, that was the best thing. I'm like, well, maybe that's what he thought that was the best thing.
No, I'm thinking he's saying that. I think he's thinking that Apple was thinking that was the best thing because they spent so much time on it. And he's angry about it.
They spent a lot of time on that. It was about equal time as the actual Apple Watch announcement.
Yeah.
But hey,
totally.
You gotta love it.
We live in a new time, a whole new world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Mike from Cambridge, UK.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Brian. It's Mike from Cambridge, UK. Just wondering, I guess maybe this is an eventuality. I don't know. Do you think the iPhone 8 will have the dual lens sort of thing? I think I'm waiting for that to show up. It's kind of hard to choose, but anyway, there we go. Bye.
This man is a smart man. I literally had this conversation about, and I kind of did it with a wink. I'm like, I just can't wait for that dual lens camera to be in the regular size iPhone 10th anniversary phone. That's what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that. So I hope he's on the same page. I hope Apple is on the same page as him and Apple's on the same page with me, because if so, oh man. And by that time, you're going to be able to do this bokeh effect with so many more different things. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
So many more. So
yes.
I am down with that.
Okay. Last call. George Haynes from Houston, Texas, my birthplace.
H-Town.
Hello, this is George Haynes from Houston, Texas. I believe it was genius of Apple to allow the new iPhone to be leaked online to lower expectations so they could deliver a greater than anticipated keynote. I was impressed until they showcased the new AirPods. After that, I found myself questioning the entire keynote and not wanting to buy anything. However, I do have two questions. Will the new 2 Series iWatch and the Nike watch be able to do the same things? If not, what do you think would be the difference between the two? And my second is, do you think the Barrage headphones would be a good option for the new iPhone? Love the show. Thanks.
I think that the Braggies or Bragi, I honestly don't know how they actually, I've called it Bragi from day one, and then I started calling it Bragi, and then I switched back to Bragi.
Sounds like bougie.
So I'm gonna go with my man and say Bragi. So here's the breakdown. Bragi, just on Monday, 2 days before the keynote, announced a newer, more affordable version of their wireless headphones that are $119. Now they aren't touch control earbuds, but they are an earbud design. They don't have these long, what Apple calls shafts on them. I feel like I've talked about the AirPods so much that my brain is just like mush from it, right?
So the Brajis are $120.
The entry-level model is, which they just announced on Monday.
I still think that's too expensive.
Well, then you're going to have to wait
They're
3
like,
years.
oh, Apple iPhone is going to market us, so we better jack the price up.
But here, I'll tell you why. The Braji original ones, which do everything, they're waterproof. They have heart rate monitoring. They are touch tap controls. You don't need to press physical buttons. They're touch like.
That's cool.
Those are $299.
$299.
They come with their own charging case, but they're $299.
I guess I'm like,
and they have they can be used on their own because they have storage on them for music playback.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
That's $299. So you basically have like
$300.
You have wireless bud MP3 wireless bud music players in your ear. That's what the Braji $299 ones are.
That's pretty cool.
See, for that you're kind of like, that's not bad.
The price is still just
but
too high for me.
But these aren't. I mean, I think this whole Bluetooth headphone world, they've got to be at least $120 right now. So we'll see. I mean, I've never been able to check them out. They have like different fitting sleeves on it. That's also the other thing. The earbud ones, they come with different sizers for different ears. The Apple AirPods, one size. It's not gonna. One size will not fit all.
No, it's not.
It just won't. So, if his recommendation is did he ask what he should get?
Yeah, and he was also asking about the Nike watch and the regular Apple Watch.
Oh yeah, so I guess I should answer his question. So I would say go buy what fits the best for you and what you like how it looks. I think the Brajis just look better because they're just less obtrusive, and they're also $10 cheaper. But if it fits good, then go for it. But they do not have any touch controls. They have like physical button controls on the 120 design. Now from a Nike, I think we talked about a little bit the Nike watch versus the regular Apple Watch. They're going to both do the same exact things. The difference is that the Nike watch has a different band. It also has some watch wallpapers that you can use, but the Nike Plus Run app, that is kind of this whole platform where it tracks your steps and gives you reminders and motivational things. That's going to be available on both. So I would, if you're really Nike fan and you like how that one looks, go buy both the things you're talking to me about is all about personal preference and looks.
True.
So go buy that and own it.
The Nike one does look cool. It's got that whole like Nike.
You like
Vapor.
that sport. You like that, that whole the Volt yellow action going on and everything like that. You like that.
Like the Nike Vapor drivers for golf are pretty cool. It looks exactly like one of those.
That's pretty sweet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if I sounded a little low energy, it's kind of just because my brain has been destroyed this week.
This is tough.
Aren't you feeling it too?
Oh yeah.
I think we're both feeling it. We're like, our laughs are like, ha ha ha. Ha. We're like, huh. You only like half saying I didn't even sing this episode. We're freaking beat. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Again, the Apple Bite Extra Crunchy, you can call us at 1-800-616-2638. Your thoughts on everything that's going on. You know what? You don't even have to wait for our show to respond to what we said. Just call in, tell us what you're thinking. Maybe you read a story, you thought it was hot, you want to speak about it, or give us your thoughts on the keynote, because we kind of want to hear what you thought. A week later, sometimes your feelings change from a few days after. I always feel like
to absorb it.
Let it marinate before. That's the whole thing. Apple's pre-orders happen the same day as the keynote because they know a lot of people pre-order because they want it like right now. But you give it a week, I bet you like at least a third of those people wouldn't pre-order anymore.
Yeah, once you come down, you might not order.
Come down from the Apple High. Beach, I think we're good.
Yeah, we got to read the post roll.
Jeez, am I that out of it? No, I'm still here. iDevices, again, our friends, meticulously manufacture, design thoughtful products like smart plugs, smart witches, switches, thermostats, and socket, a light bulb adapter that turns your dumb bulb into a smart one with dimming capabilities and full color customizable night lights. More than mere gadgets, iDevices aims to evolve your home with products that are built around your life. Surf on over iDevicesinc.com. That's INC. Use the promo code AppleBite for 15% off your home's evolution. AppleBite, always a killer code. Say it with me, Steven. iDevices, evolving your home.
All right.
We are good, man.
We are golden.
We're so good.
Let me change the song to Applebite music.
So we just
and we're gonna play
it out. Play it out.
All right.
Doing it live. Play it out.
See you guys.
Peace.